We're at the Steelyard, East Bricktown. We started on this project a long time ago. I'm not exactly sure I can remember when. It was the Stewart Metal plant. It was a challenging site. I remember 10 years ago seeing potential plans for it. Heard that there was some economic stimulus money that might be available. I had no interest in the site, neither did anybody else. We knew it was complicated. We just didn't know how complicated. And so the economic stimulus money got me excited because there was some opportunity to do some workforce housing, what we call mixed use housing, which I was interested in. And I felt like that the amount of money that was available would be enough to offset the cost of dealing with this site. It was the brownfield site. We knew that the soil was contaminated, we just didn't know how bad. We also knew we had a lot of utilities that had to be relocated. We ran into some that weren't even on the survey. The most difficult ones were, there were 3 8-foot storm sewers that ran diagonally through this site, and one of them was Oklahoma Department of Transportation. So you had to relocate those, which was expensive, which we had Sheridan torn up down to 28 feet for months and months. Then everything else had to be relocated, all the utilities. That ended up being more expensive and more difficult, more challenging than the engineers had warned me about. Then we get into the brownfield, and we thought we had our arms around that till you get into it, and you found out that you have all this sand here. This used to be a roundabout for train engines. And so they would bring these train engines in, and clearly they would change their oil here, and so we just found stuff down to 20 feet plus. It took a year longer than we anticipated to deal with the brownfield piece as well as the utilities. And fortunately, the city was great working with us. Amanda Allewine at the Brownfield Department and the Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, was just incredibly helpful. Well, we wrapped the entire block in a urban renewal development plan, knowing that I wanted to have a couple hotels on the corner because it felt like they would pay the highest rate, and we needed to get as much money as we could in order to pay for part of the utility relocations. That's the only thing that would make the site work. I knew that Newcrest Image, Mike Patel and his team, they had done the Holiday Inn here in Bricktown, and they had the AC hotel. We had a lot of interest from 3, maybe 4 different hotel groups, but Newcrest and Mike are really the ones I wanted. I knew they would do a great job, and I really thought that AC flag would be a great complement to Steelyard. And getting them engaged took longer than we anticipated, but as I suspected, they built an incredible project, and we're delighted with it. Steelyard, we moved into it knowing we were going to do retail. We wanted to do retail in Sheridan, so we actually built 2-story space there. The inside of that retail is over 20 feet on ceiling height. Bay depth was much more conducive to restaurants, to different type of retailers. So we have designed that. We've even got grease traps on both ends of that retail. So we know that we're going to have retailers. We built some outside seating. We expect to bring in restaurants that have some outside seating. We think that's important for Sheridan and for this part of Bricktown.